Afternoon everybody, and welcome back to un-chefy. Now today I'm talking all things campervan cooking. Yes, now as some of you may know already, I'm a very recent convert to the ridge monkey pans, which means that I need to clear some space out of my cupboards to make room for my ridge monkeys. So the first thing I'm going to cover are the pans that are going. First on the list to go are my nesting camping saucepans. I've had these a long time, about 15 years, and they've served me very well. It also came with a kettle which went last year, or at least it didn't go because I can't get rid of them. They're too sentimental, so they're in my shed. So that's created a little bit of space for the ridge monkeys. And the other thing, which didn't take up an awful lot of space to start with, is my cafetiere. I do love coffee, and I really need coffee in the morning to get me going. It's one of the things I really look forward to when I'm camping, is waking up and having a really good cup of coffee. So this has traditionally been what we use in the van, but at home we have used for the last couple of years a mocha pot. And I must admit, the coffee that comes out of this little baby is 1,000,000% better than even the cafetiere. This one it's a Bialetti. We tried another cheaper brand and it just leaked. So this one we've had probably close to 3 years now, and absolutely no leaks. It gets this lovely kind of lived-in look, which I just think adds to it. And this one is the 9 cup, so it's the largest one. Too large for the camper van, so I'm not going to be bringing this in the van. So far, up till now, what we've been doing is when we go away camping, we bring this from home and put it in the van. But disaster struck last weekend. We went to Crickhowell for the night and I forgot this. I had already taken this out of the camper van, so we were left with no implement to make coffee in the morning. And we got up and we went to a McDonald's on the way home, so I did have my coffee fix. But to prevent that happening again, I'm going to get the smaller version, probably the 4 or the 6 cup pot. They don't make 6 normal cups, of course, they are the espresso measures. So yeah, the 6 cup will probably just about make a cup each for me and Richard. So that'll be on order from Amazon very shortly, and then that will stay in the van. One of the pans that I've talked about quite a lot in the past, and I have used extensively, is this one. I'm not sure what type of pan you'd call it, but I bought it in Home Bargains. I haven't seen them since, and it's a ballerini make. It's quite light, but lovely non-stick coating. And then last year I bought a lid to go on it from Amazon. It's just any make really, just a sort of standard saucepan lid. And I've used that to make everything from chilies, curries, paella, porridge, everything really. And I don't have any complaints with it at all. It's absolutely brilliant. The only problem is it is quite big. It does fit in the cupboards, but you've got to sort of angle it to get it in there. So I don't want to get rid of it because I do like it. So if I do take it out of the van, because now I've got my ridge monkeys that pretty much take care of all the cooking needs I have, this will go in the house and we'll use it happily in the house. But I haven't taken it out of the van as yet because I'm still undecided as to whether I really need it or not. So the cupboard at the moment is a bit cramped because I'm keeping this in it. But yeah, I'll let you know what I decide. Another pan that doesn't take up much space at all, so this will definitely be staying, is my little mini frying pan. It was only a few pounds from Lidl, I think this one was, and for the van we have one in the house as well actually. Just find it perfect. I'm not very good at cooking fried eggs, they always break, but in this little thing it just slides out and it keeps things nice and neat. I gotta be honest, I mostly use this for cooking my pancakes when I'm camping, and it's the perfect size for a couple of pancakes. Easy to wash again, So that is staying. So I've mentioned the ridge monkeys, and over my last few videos that I've done, you've probably seen me making some meals in the ridge monkey. Now last weekend we went to Quick Howell and we had the full work steak and all the trimmings. Yes, it's evening time in Quick Howell. I'm just doing steak sauce and a bit of salad with some oven chips and onion rings done in the ridge monkey. So I'm using little camping pots because I'm making a peppercorn sauce to go with the steak, and I found the pots that I bought in a camping shop for hiking really quite useful for doing small amounts. So it's a packet peppercorn sauce, but I'm sure it'll be lovely. And in here I'm doing some oven chips, which were frozen, but they defrosted slightly. But they're browning up quite nicely. And we've got a couple of ribeyes to stick on the griddle pan of my large ridge monkey. The final flourish. This is the steak dinner on our plates. I think that looks pretty good for a campervan meal with 2 rings. We have chips, onion rings, a dressed salad, steak and a peppercorn sauce. I think we're pretty happy with that. Yes, the ridge monkeys have really made things possible that I never thought would be possible in a campervan. And steak with all of those lovely things is definitely one of them. And as you saw in the video, I made the oven chips and the onion rings in the Ridge Monkey XL Connect, which is the sort of the sandwich toaster, if you like. Couple of tips I found about cooking things like chips, onion rings, really is don't overload it. If you overload it, it will steam and things won't go brown, which means that you can't cook huge portions in here. When I did the steak and chips, it was enough for me and Richard, but I think probably I had too many chips in the pan, so to get them a little bit crisper next time, I'd use less. Of course, it's called a sandwich toaster, and I have done a number of different toasted sandwiches in this, and it works supremely well. Doing really basic things in this. The thing I miss when I go camping is toast in the morning. Toast and marmalade or beans on toast. And we have cooked toast in this, and it just is so lovely and crunchy. Again, yeah, just the basics. Obviously your fry up, your cooked breakfasts go well in here. But what about those occasions when you're camping and you have a sudden urge for something gooey, sweet and very naughty? I've got my Ridge Monkey out, the sandwich toaster one, and I am going to attempt some cookies. And I am cheating a little bit because they're not made from scratch. I've got one of these from Aldi, this is one, so it's a chocolate chip cookie mix. And all you need to add to this is a tablespoon of water and 40 grams of margarine I'm using. So I put that in from one of our takeaways, these little containers. We got hundreds of them now, we save them, they're brilliant for the van, and the takeaway containers themselves as well. So that's pre-weighed at home. I'm going to add them together with a bit of water, stick them in this bowl, and I'm going to attempt cookies in the Ridge Monkey. Well, I'm impressed with the amount of chocolate chunks in this mix. They look delicious and they're quite chunky as well. So I've added the margarine and a little bit of water and sort of brought it together in a dough. I'd like to get my hands in and mix it in really, but I don't really want to get my hands all greasy. So I'm going to wait for the ridge monkey to warm up, and then I'm going to put a couple of tablespoons on. I've got my oil out as well, my cooking oil, because I'm not sure if I'm going to need any. I might use a couple of drops just to stop this sticking. And then I'm going to put a couple of tablespoons on and flip them over a couple of times, and we'll see what comes out the other end. Well, I've turned them over a couple of times, so they are golden. They're a bit like a cross between a scone and a pancake and a Welsh cake. But I think they're going to be yummy anyway. Okay guys, I don't think these are going to win any beauty contests. They look pretty awful, I will admit. But because they're very warm and they're very squidgy, but as they're cooling, they do have a cookie-like texture. And big chunks of melted chocolate, and they taste amazing. If you can live with the ugliness of these, and you really are in an emergency situation when you need something sweet, and I often am when I'm in the van, so you either send Richard out for snacks, or you keep a packet of this biscuit mix in your van and a little bit of margarine. Maybe you could use oil. Really good. Yeah. Just need a cup of tea now to go with it. Richard has refused to try. He doesn't really have a sweet tooth like me. Yes folks, this is a lifesaver for those of you who like warm, chocolatey, squidgy treats. Definitely try the cookies. In the video where I showed the steak and all the trimmings dinner that we had last weekend, you probably saw me making the peppercorn sauce. So one of the items that's coming to the van this year are my cooking pots that I bought for hiking, really. So they're super light and they fold in on themselves, and therefore obviously hiking. Now you can get very expensive ones made of titanium if you're really counting your grams. These were about £10 from one of the camping shops. They're Eurohike make, and they do the job perfectly well. They detach. The lid you can use as a tiny little pan, and yeah, very, very dinky. And then the main body is a capacity about 400 mils. It's got measurements on the side, which is quite handy in a van if you need to add 300 mils to something. It's a quick measure on the side there. But I used this to boil up peas to go with a steak meal on another occasion. And you saw me using this to make the peppercorn sauce. And also the Mayflower curry sauces and the gravies that I'm going to talk about in a little bit. This is the perfect container to cook them. The little implements that come with the Ridge Monkey, there's 4 of them in all, they're all perfect for these pans because they don't damage the non-stick coating, and they're the perfect size, little doll-sized spoons, so they don't take up an awful lot of room. In fact, they fit inside the Ridge Monkey. But together, the Ridge Monkeys and these little miniature pans, I think, are a perfect combination. Now, as well as the compact XL sandwich toaster Ridge Monkey, I was given this as a Christmas present, and it's the Connect multi-purpose griddle pan. And this, again, we used when we were doing meals last weekend. For anything else, and that's why I'm thinking of maybe leaving out this saucepan, for your chilies, your curries, really, really perfect size for anything. Boiling potatoes, and the part separates and the handle is ridged, so you can use this for all your griddling, your vegetables, cooking bacon of course, and we did our steaks. If you like the nice ridges on your steaks, the lid's perfect for that. And then the main pan for anything else. Well, I hope you enjoyed the roundup of my cookware. Now I thought I'd talk about a few of the convenience foods that I find quite handy to keep in the van. I have talked about Mayflower sauces previously. You can buy these in, where have I seen them? Home Bargains is where I normally get mine. I've also seen them in Farm Foods, B&M Bargains, all the cheap shops really. You can tell how classy I am. But I love these. The first one is the Southern style gravy mix. It is vegan if you are a vegan. But I just think it makes a really nice tasty gravy, and it's quite a nice thick texture. I find the Bisto or those granules that you get just make a gravy that's so watery. There's a bit more effort in this, so you do need to sort of boil it for a couple of minutes. But again, in my little nesting camping, the little small nesting pots with one of these spoons, I find them really easy to make up a bit of gravy. And the other one I use is the curry mix. You can get it in medium or the extra hot, which is the one I like. And again, it's just as easy to use. Measure out the powder, put some in cold water, mix and stir, and within a couple of minutes you've got a nice thick curry sauce. Now that can be a base to throw on your meat or your tofu or some vegetables. Throw in some onions and some peas, and to my mind it makes like a Chinese takeaway curry. Talking of takeaways, we do indulge in takeaways, and when we do, they send so many plastic pots, don't they, but I keep all of these little ones that come with the chutneys and things. They are so useful for the camper van. Things like, just if you've got a big pot of jam or marmalade and you don't want to buy another one for the van, just dispense it into this. But with these Mayflower sauces, these are a perfect size. If you don't want to carry these with you, just measure out, fill up one of these, or weigh them, 40 grams I think they are, and keep a couple of these in your van, and you've always then got a gravy or a curry powder ready to go. Doesn't even need weighing. I'm sure it won't be a surprise to most of you with camper vans that you really can't beat sometimes a packet of rice. I'm not fond of the pastas. I really don't like the aftertaste that comes with those sauces, but I have found this bachelor's super rice. Again, a bit of water in a pan, boil it up for a couple of minutes. It's a generous portion for one, or you could eke it out for two. I'm sure it's supposed to serve more than that, but I have a healthy appetite. I particularly like the Chinese flavour and the curry flavour, and yeah, with a bit of the curry sauce on top. Honestly, it's almost like a takeaway, but a lot less expensive, obviously. And yeah, just nothing dynamic or new to any of you, I'm sure, but yeah, definitely recommend stick a couple of those in your van. Now, you remember, if you do, the 1970s and the Smash adverts on TV, and I've gone through years of absolutely hating instant mash because we had so much of it when I was a kid, and I just think it's a horrible powdery yuck stuff. However, when you're camping, you know, getting potatoes, peeling them, boiling them, mashing them is a bit of a production, and not one that I particularly want to do when I'm in the van. So I have found a brand of instant potato that is, I would say, very close to real potato. Now, it costs a bit more, as you can imagine, than the cheap instant mash, but it's this one, and I get it in Tesco's. It's the Idahoan, and it, again, as easy to make as any other. Just pour boiling water on, give it a stir. Comes in different flavours. This is the buttery one. We mostly use the plain one because I like to add my own butter, but you can also get a cheese variety and a garlic variety as well, which I haven't tried, but yeah, definitely recommend those. Now, as you will have seen from some of the food I've been eating lately, I am not vegetarian or vegan in the slightest. And if we're going away just for a day, then we bring meat with us and we keep it in our cool box. Anything longer than that, if I'm not buying fresh from where we are, I don't really like keeping meat for longer than a day. So if I'm going away for longer than that, I don't tend to eat meat. So what I do find as an alternative that I like is this brand of tofu. It's called Tofu Company. It's from Tesco's. It's in the chilled aisle, and it comes in a couple of different varieties. I personally like the smoked one, and it's really easy to use. It doesn't require any pressing at all because it's already quite firm. Just drain it. I chop it up into cubes, and I use that wherever I would use chicken in a recipe. So I've used it with pasta meals, in curries, and yeah, all sorts really. So yeah, that's definitely a recommend for the vegetarians and the vegans. So often if I fancy a curry, if I've got meat with me, I'd use that. Could just use vegetables, or maybe even the tofu that I've mentioned. And there's one particular curry that I find super quick to make and really yummy, and these are from Aldi. They do a couple of different ones. This is the Thai green. They also do a red curry as well. I've tried them both and they're absolutely amazing. Everything you need to make other than your meat or your tofu, and throw in a few veggies if you like. But the coconut milk is in here, the curry paste, and there is a little sachet in here of some Thai herbs which you throw in right at the end. A little word of warning, the little sachet contains chilies, dried chilies, but when they are reconstituted in the curry, they are very hot. And Richard took a bite of one and he likes his food pretty hot, but they were super hot. So yeah, really convenient just to keep in the cupboard and very quick to make, and enough for two, I would say, in there. Well, I hope you enjoyed this week's update on what's cooking in my camper van. I will be back with another video next week. Between now and then, we've got a lovely long bank holiday weekend. So I hope you're all out and about and enjoying the vans, whatever the weather. I'll see you all next week, guys. Have a great week. Bye.